Hi Helen, thanks so much for joining us today. And we're going to talk about sleeping well. And one of the first points is talking about how we can get ourselves into a good pattern to have a good night's sleep.
Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. It's really, we have this circadian rhythm within our bodies that connects with nature. And it's important, we've become so disconnected that that's a large part of the problem. And also the circadian rhythm, our body actually has a 25-hour cycle. So each day it actually needs just slightly resetting back to the 24-hour cycle. And the very first way we can do that is to get outside, because it's the daylight that is the first prompt that it's daytime. So getting outside, daylight helps us create serotonin. And serotonin not only is our feel good, but it's our daytime wake up hormone. And it's also a precursor to melatonin. So we need that serotonin to later, 12 hours later, have this melatonin being created. And they work in balance in a sort of seesaw effect. And it's important that we get the daylight, because light is measured in what's called lux units. And a sunny day, we get 30,000 units of lux on our face in like 10 minutes. On a cloudy day, 10,000. In a lit office room, it's just 500. So that's not going to be enough to set off that serotonin. So getting daylight, real daylight on our faces as soon in the morning as we can is a real key to setting this whole circadian rhythm up and going again.
Brilliant. So it's just getting your hormones acting in the right way. That's great.
Yeah.
So let's talk about alcohol and my favorite, coffee.
Yes. Nice, aren't they? So yeah, the thing with them is that they both really affect our sleep. You know, we tend to think of alcohol as being a sedative and helping us sleep, but actually it causes a very disturbed sleep, and we wake up many times. The liver's having to work harder anyway because of the toxins, and it causes us to wake up throughout the night, even if we don't remember it. So we can wake up feeling more tired and not really understanding why. And caffeine similarly affects us, because caffeine's a drug, and like all drugs, it's got a half-life. So caffeine's half-life is 6 hours. So if we have a cup of coffee at 8 p.m. after our evening meal, say, then at 2 a.m. in the morning, we've still got 50% of that caffeine circulating around our blood system. So even if we're not really aware of it, it is changing the activity, the hormonal activity of what's going on in the body, and not letting it really rejuvenate naturally and refresh itself and recharge as it's programmed to do.
God, that's a long time, isn't it? It's in the
It
system.
is. It's surprising. And you know, if you think we don't just have one and then have a 6-hour break or a 12-hour break, do we? We stack them all up, so it's going to be much higher than that.
Yes.
Because that's probably our fourth or fifth coffee, not our first coffee.
Yeah.
So they all accumulate on inside of us. So it is important to just be aware, and you know, maybe have your caffeinated drinks in the morning, and then so you've got a clearer run.
Yeah. Just go on to other drinks, decafs, chicory, and water, I guess, is the best thing.
Yeah.
So the other thing that we all love is blue light devices. So they actually mess with our rhythm quite a lot, don't they?
Yeah, exactly the same. So our body perceives the blue light as if it's daylight. So it's just going to mess up that whole circadian rhythm. So it's a really good idea for many reasons, to let the brain relax and have downtime as well, to get off screens at least an hour before, you know, to reduce the electric light so it's really dim. The body needs the cue that it's dark, and in modern day life we don't really have this darkness. The body's the other big cue for the body that it's nighttime is temperature dropping, because it gets cooler at nighttime. So our body recognizes that as the time to sleep. But again, with central heating, then that doesn't always happen. So making sure your room's nice and cool, nice and dark, can really help as well. Just keep this circadian clock going with the right time.
And going to orange light as well, so salt lamps and things like that, it's been proven to calm the brain and just move away from the normal lighting that we have.
Yeah.
The other big thing which disrupts a lot of our sleeps is worrying. So
Yeah.
when you go to bed, and whether it's worrying or just running through your day, um, so
Mm.
what would your advice be on that element?
Um, write down all your worries. You kind of have to make this pact with yourself that you're going, it's not the right time. So write them down and you'll deal with them tomorrow, or put them in a mental box and really see yourself putting a lock on the box and a big heavy thing on top of the box so they're not coming out. Because what's really helpful is to remember that when we sleep, apparently the prefrontal cortex, the bit that does all the problem solving, is the first bit that goes to sleep. So that's on sleep. We're just worrying on our emotions, which is worry. So we're just worrying about worry, and it just goes round and round and round. So given that we're not going to solve the problem, we might as well not even bother to think about it. So that kind of gives us permission to just think, oh, there's nothing I can do about it now, leave it for tomorrow. Having said that, we do sometimes pattern match in our dreaming and put things together and suddenly get those aha moments. So if you're somebody like that, then having a notebook by the side of your bed is a really good idea. So when you wake up, if you do wake up with a good idea, you can quickly write it down. So you don't have to think, I've got to remember that, I've got to remember that, I've got to remember that. So you can just, again, put it to one side and let it go.
Yeah.
And the other thing that they say about worrying is to swap it. So instead of thinking about what you're worrying about, think about what you're grateful for. And there's a lot of research now that shows that gratitude, writing a gratitude list before you go to bed, 3 to 10 things, or just thinking them, can really help set a positive note and stop the worrying. And I always start with, I just do my mentally. As soon as the trigger is my head touching that pillow, the first thing I always is, I'm grateful to have a warm, safe bed to sleep in. So hopefully most of us can have that one, and that's a safe starter point. I've just have that prompt, and that starts it, and so it just sets that whole tone of having a more peaceful time and sleep. And
Yeah.
then I think if you can't get to sleep after about 30 minutes, then kind of the current advice is to actually get out of bed, but to do something you really don't want to do, something really onerous, something really boring. So it's a chore. So you don't associate getting out of bed as a treat. You don't have biscuits and tea. You go and do a chore, but something that you can leave when you are tired. And so as soon as you do get tired, so you're scrubbing the floor, oh, I'm fed up with this and tired, you go to bed and you fall asleep. And that trains the brain that actually that bedtime is where it sleeps, and it starts to associate that. So just using your bed to sleep and not do all these other hundreds of things that we lie on bed and write, and just trying to keep it as the place to sleep can help train the brain that when you're there, that's what you do, you sleep.
And just try and keep your devices out of your room as well, isn't it? If
Yeah,
possible,
yeah,
sort of like wind up clocks, going back to that rather than
yes.
anything electrical by the side of your head. So that alleviates um, strain on your thinking and sleeping.
And temptation, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And a routine, it's very boring, but they do say um, that getting up, going to bed and getting up at the same time every day as well just reinforces the pattern and the rhythm for your body.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant. Okay, thanks very much, Helen. And we'll
You're
talk to you
welcome.
again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.